My name's Anne Bourke. My business is Cosmic Heart Intuitive, and I'd like to invite you to learn more about how women can be empowered on this inaugural Global Women's Empowerment Conference. My aim is to help empower people to better understand their animals. Animals are my passion, and I love being a voice and an advocate for them. So I'm an animal communicator and an animal medium. I have conversations with animals who are living and with those who are in spirit. I'm also an author of 2 books, and I'm a healer. So particularly in these times, people have been relying more on their animals for support and companionship, and it's really important to better understand why our animals are here and what purpose they have in our life. So a key thing for you to understand is our animals understand everything that we say. They may not do everything that we ask them to do, but they definitely understand everything that we're saying to them. And because our words have a vibration, our animals are very sensitive to that. So if we say negative things to them, they understand. And also if we call them a name that has a negative meaning, they will also be impacted by that. So it's really important to think very carefully of how you are speaking to your animal and for the name that you give them, so that it is a positive experience for them. Another important thing to understand about our animals is that they have souls. So whether they're our domestic animals or animals in captivity in zoos and sanctuaries or animals in the wild, they have souls. So they've come to the planet as a soul in an animal body, whereas we've come to the planet as a soul in a human body. So our animals have a purpose for being here, just like we do. So they're on a soul journey and they're with us for a reason. So often we might think that we're rescuing them, but in fact they're here to help rescue us. So some of them are here to help protect us and guard us and our houses. Some of them are very gifted teachers, and when we start to be able to communicate with them, they can start teaching us what we need to know to help us on our soul journeys. Some of them are also very profound healers, and our animals are very intuitive and sensitive to our body's vibrational frequency. So we all vibrate at a certain frequency, and when we start to get ill, our frequency drops. Our animals will know that, and so they will instinctively start spending more time closer to us and being more affectionate, because they want to help us on our healing journey. And they love doing anything they can to be of service for us, even though we haven't asked them to do that. And in fact, sometimes our animals actually take on some of our health symptoms for us so that we don't have to bear the full brunt of the condition. And again, it's a very loving thing that they're doing to help us, but it can be also very stressful for us, having them sick while we're sick as well. So please thank them for doing that, if they are doing that, but explain it would make you much happier and less stressed if they didn't do that, but you appreciate their support. Now, having a conversation with an animal means that I can help find out what's happening with any behaviour or health issues. So sometimes there may be a change in their environment which is altering how they behave, and sometimes there may be a change in you and the interaction with them has altered, and that impacts on their behaviour as well. Sometimes they have to cope with a lot of change in their environment. So when they're used to just having the house to themselves and you, if you bring home a new partner or a baby or another animal, that totally changes their world. They thrive on routine and having their one-on-one time with you. So anyone else coming into the household, whether human or animal, is going to change the energy in the house. It's going to change how they interact with you and the time that they can spend with you. And they also have to share their environment with whoever's come into the house, as well as sharing you with whoever has come into the house. So They have to adapt to different noises. So if there's a baby who's crying or another human who's in the house with different voice and different footsteps, different ringtone on their mobile phone, noises that they haven't heard before, they have to adjust to all of that. So please be patient with them while they do that. If it's a new baby animal who's come into the house, again, it's really important that you maintain your established routines with them, because that's what they thrive on. And if you change that, then they may think that you don't love them as much and that you've gone and got this new animal because you don't love them, and maybe they've done something to upset you. So please let them know that it's not that you love them any less, you just have capacity to love another animal as well. Try and do a lot of that loving of the new animal out of sight of the established animals, and let them still have their one-on-one time with you, so that they can feel as though they've got some semblance of normal routine with you. And having a conversation does change the relationship with your animal. All of the owners have told me afterwards that the relationship has deepened, the whole dynamic of the relationship changes, and the animals even look at them differently, because they just know that you've had a conversation about them and they really care that you've done that. So understanding them better and what's happening in their world means that we can make changes if we need to, so that they are more comfortable and happier, and then they can interact with us on a different level, which helps support us coping in our life as well. So when we have to say goodbye to an animal, that's one of the most heartbreaking and emotional things that we can experience in our human lifetime. And unfortunately, sometimes our animals pass away before we do get a chance to say goodbye. And sometimes our animals can pass on their own, and sometimes they need our assistance. And I know a lot of people struggle with being asked to give their animal assistance, but sometimes we have to learn that we have to exercise that great act of love and help them pass over when it's their time and they just can't manage it on their own. Once the animal's soul passes over, it goes through a healing process, just like our human souls do when we pass over. And often their physical ailments get healed first. And so once they've gone through that healing process, they can then come back and visit us on an energetic level. So it's not their physical body coming back to visit us, but it's the energy of their soul that comes back. I've experienced this myself, and a number of my clients have experienced this too. So if you see or hear or feel your animal, please don't think that you're crazy. Our animal souls do the utmost to try and let us know that they're visiting us, and they want to help reassure us that their soul has transitioned safely. It's really difficult for them on the other side watching us grieve for them, and they're not here to physically comfort us. So they will try and come through as soon as they can, and normally this is early hours of the morning. So I know people that have felt the weight of the animal on their bed, or they've felt a paw touching them, they've felt their cat purring, they've felt breathing on their face, or they've seen a glimpse of their animal like in a physical form running up and down the corridor. So lots of different things that you may experience, but just be open to doing that, because they will be trying their hardest to let you know that they're okay and that they're there in the house with you. Now, going through the grief process is an individual thing, and there's no time limit on it, so please be gentle with yourself. But there's also other people in your family to consider that also need support through the grief process, and particularly the other animals in your household will also need support, because they will be grieving for that soul as well. So your animals will know instinctively that you're very sad, and they will try and come up and give you lots of comfort and cuddles. So please reciprocate, because while they're giving you comfort, you can give them comfort back again. They will know instinctively when that soul comes back into the house. So if your animals are just sitting there and looking and staring at the wall and you can't see a thing, your animal will be there, and that they will be acknowledging that. So it's just beautiful that they do come back to comfort us and the other animals in the house. So having an animal mediumship session means that I can pass on questions on your behalf to your animal in spirit and relay the answers back to you. And for your animal in spirit, usually that's the first time that they've had an opportunity to talk to you. So it's a fabulous opportunity for them to be able to pass on their messages of gratitude and love for you looking after them and having them as part of your family for whatever amount of time they've spent with you. So I love facilitating these conversations because it really helps with the grief process and knowing that that soul has endured, and often they confirm that they're with other human family members or other animal family members, which is really reassuring for the human family as well. So something that I've learnt through my experience as an animal medium is the miracle of soul reincarnation. Now, I knew nothing about this before one of my cats let me experience it. And she was absolutely healthy. And then one morning she suddenly passed away, which is just a huge shock. She had no health issues at all. And I wasn't sure how long I was going to have to wait before I could connect with her and find out what was going on. But fortunately, she was able to talk to me quite quickly afterwards. And so I said, "What did you do that for?" And she just said, "Oh, I needed a new body," as though that's what everybody does. Anyway, she described to me what she was going to look like when she came back. And so for me then it was a waiting game, because everything that she taught me prior to that had been 100% accurate. So I just had to trust that she was telling me the truth. And it made coping with the grief process quite different, because although I missed her physical presence and her in her former body, there was that sense of anticipation and excitement to see her coming back in a new body. And sure enough, she came back in the body as she told me, and a lot of very similar mannerisms. And I've now experienced this with numerous other clients where I've spoken with their animals before they've passed away, and some of them do know they've got the opportunity to come back in a body and come back to their humans again. Unfortunately, it's not every animal's destiny to do that in this lifetime, but when they can, it's such a gift to have that soul back with us again. So sometimes they come back as the same species, sometimes they come back as a different species, sometimes they may be a different sex. So there's no guarantee what they're going to look like or how they're going to behave, but you'll definitely recognise something on a soul level. And so whether it's gazing into their eyes and recognising them, or the way they walk, there'll be something that's very familiar to you about them, and you'll know it's definitely your animal soul. So again, from my experience, sometimes our animal souls have had past lives with us. So some of you may not be familiar with that concept, but from what I've learnt, our souls have lifetimes on earth where we learn lessons, we're here for a purpose, and then we pass over, and then at a later stage we come back again. When we come back again, we're a higher evolved version of ourselves because we've learnt and integrated those lessons from that previous lifetime. So when they come back, they will be slightly different, but they come back with a different set of lessons to learn, but have chosen to come back to be with us while they undertake those lessons. And so sometimes we have to wait until we pass over till we meet them again, and sometimes we may have several lifetimes with them in our lifetime. So it's been an absolutely fascinating experience having conversations with animals and understanding all these processes that I was completely oblivious to. So in addition to empowering people to better understand their animals through animal communication sessions and animal mediumship sessions, I've also written 2 books. So my first book is The Bridge to Animal Consciousness, and this was written to help raise global awareness about understanding of animals. So to understand that they do have souls, that they're here on soul journeys just like the humans are, and to understand that they're with us for a reason, and that they can enrich our lives, and that by helping them, they help us, and we can make a difference for them, whether they're domestic animals or animals in captivity or animals in the wild. And then my second book Evolving Hearts and Souls, The Guide to Spiritual Awakening. This was a book I wrote because when I woke up to my spiritual purpose and understood that I was here on a spiritual journey, my clairvoyant powers switched on. So I would be able to have conversations with people and suddenly see into their past lives and also to see in their future. And I had no idea why this was happening and what I was supposed to do about it. So I've been on a great journey over the last 10 years of a lot of metaphysical and spiritual practices, understanding what happens, why we're here, all about the body, about different healing modalities. And so this book is sort of 10 years of my experiences to help people on their spiritual awakening journey and spiritual development journey. When we wake up to understanding that we are here for a spiritual reason, it can be quite unnerving, and lots of weird things can happen. And if you don't really understand what's happening, you can feel a bit lost. So the intent of writing this book was for people to feel that they could feel more confident and understand more about what was happening and be able to navigate their spiritual awakening journey and spiritual development journey with much less stress. So both of these books are available on Amazon, either as the paperbacks or they're also available as ebooks. So I am committed to empowering people to better understanding their animals and to understanding their spiritual purpose, and being open to communication and the benefits from that. And a lot of people have received activations from reading my books and being able to have conversations with their animals as well. So if you would like to find out more about animal conversations or animal mediumship sessions, please visit my website, which is www.cosmicheartintuitive.com.au. So I'll just repeat that again, www.cosmicheartintuitive.com.au. So on the website you'll find out much more information about the reading services that I offer as the animal communication sessions or the mediumship sessions. There's also more information about my books and information about healing sessions, so I'd encourage you to have a look at that site, and you can also send me messages from that site if you have more questions, which I'm happy to answer for you. So thank you so much for watching this session, and I do hope it has empowered you to be curious about why your animal's here, why they're with you, what lessons they might be trying to learn, what their purpose is for being with you, and if there are any issues with them that you would like to find out more information about. And similarly, if you're still carrying grief from an animal who has passed into spirit, please consider having a mediumship session. A number of people have fed back that it has really helped support them and released a lot of stress and anxiety, knowing that they have transitioned safely, that they've confirmed that they're with other family members or other animals, and that they are coming and visiting you, even if you may be unaware that they are doing that. So again, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit and enjoy the experience of being empowered. Thank you.